Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Earth 2 Season 2 discussion of Game of Thrones, of HBO's Game of Thrones prequel show, House of the Dragon. Um, Along to do this episode with me, of course, is Roy. Welcome back. Wait, team spoiler. Okay. Okay. Okay, because, book guy over here.
That's
So,
Mo
yeah.
became a book guy over the.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years or a year. I don't even know
It's,
how.
I don't know. I think it's a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
But I think I did it over the fall,
Hmm.
over that Christmas break period, fall Christmas break period. I went into this craze. I did Cimmerillion as well.
Oh God.
So when that comes back, I'm definitely gonna be a book guy for that one.
You'll have a much better book memory than I do for Cimmerillion.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I read as a teenager, and you literally could not pay me to read it again.
Oh no,
So.
I would tell you the same. I'm not like even the things that I may not be sure about. I'm not touching that thing again ever. So don't worry about it. Like it's long.
It's intense and kind of boring.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but
I'll say it. Like,
okay.
I mean, look, I respect Tolkien, and I'm Fellowship of the Ring remains one of my favorite fantasy novels. But
Yeah, no, the Silmarillion is nah. It's just, and I think because the Silmarillion just blends everything. I think it blends the rings into everything. It's
it's just a lot.
it's a
Like
lot.
it's
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
lot.
I mean it's definitely well anyway. Yeah, and George's Fire and Blood, George's Cimmerillion, I guess, kind of
Right,
uh
right.
is a different beast altogether. I have a very soft spot for Fire and Blood because as a as a former Padawan history, master, I have nothing but respect for George's attempt to make like a fantasy novel that you have to view as a work of history. So
Right,
very
right.
interesting.
That is actually I think that's the best part of it is it's history, and I think the other part of the history of it is it's some of it even within the books it tells you, hey, s- we
We
don't
don't know
trust the
exactly what happened. Yeah, whatever
trust.
Mushroom says
Right,
could
like
be false.
he made like because people are saying Mushroom was over here, but he's telling us he was right in front of everything.
Mhm.
Listen, we don't know. We
We
don't
don't
know.
know.
But I
Yeah,
think the best part of of George's Cimmerillion, Fire and Blood, is it. HBO is saying, okay, great. Since House of the Dragon worked, we're gonna go even further back, and we're gonna go BC,
Oh, I
and we're
thought they
gonna do.
canceled that show. I thought the next thing
uh
is Duncan Egg, which is the I think at this point my favorite George R. R. Martin work are his short
Oh, wait,
stories.
they're not doing Aegon's Conquest anymore.
They made I think that's the show they're doing like when House of Dragon. I think it's the one that's like House of Dragon. I think they know they can only get like 3 or 4 seasons out
Yeah,
of. I think
yeah.
it's the one after that because the thing that they're currently filming is
Yeah,
Duncan,
they're doing something else in between. Oh,
which is
Duncan.
great by the way. Which
Yeah,
I'm way
Duncan
more
is gonna be
excited than I am for House of Dragon. Like,
no Duncan is gonna be great. I know that for a fact.
have you read
Um,
the Duncan Egg novels too?
no,
You
but
should,
I just
oh,
I've breezed. Hold on, no, I've breezed through the Spark Notes.
the
That's
Spark.
do they,
You should
do they
get
still
that
call them Spark
audiobook,
Notes?
bro. Like,
Do
get the audiobook. Get the like night. The Duncan Eggs is honestly the best.
they still call them Spark Notes? I don't know. Do you?
Cliff Notes. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I
You just
read
call
the.
it typing into Chat GTP now.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, right. But yeah, I breezed through it because as soon as HBO said this is what we're doing, anything HBO said this is what we're doing, I was like, you know what, let me get a jump on it
the
just in case.
TLDR.
Right, right. Because no, Fire and Blood is kind of long because it goes before Conquest all the way to the Dance of the Dragons,
Oh,
and
past Dance of
a
Dragons.
little,
Oh,
yeah, a lot past Dance of the Dragons. So yeah, it's does it get? No, it doesn't get to the Mad King. It doesn't get to
no,
the
the next volume
is the
is
Mad
the
King.
Night King. Like we
All
get
right.
Aegon the Fourth, which is the other one that everyone's really excited for George to give us. The like really insane king who actually ruins everything, even more than these people do.
Right.
So
Okay. Let's get to the ruination of everything because Viserys managed to have a peaceful reign
mhm.
by listen, if you read the books and you get to the Viserys reign, you're like, "Oh, cuz honestly, it was just blood and war
Mhm.
all the way to I think Viserys' dad, and then Viserys himself.
Jaehaerys the first.
Jaehaerys, yes, Jaehaerys, and then Viserys had a very while Viserys had peace, it was teetering, and I think
Hmm.
most of it was teetering because he didn't have a male heir. And it's is it going to go to his brother, or is it going to go to his daughter, and then he marries Alicent? And I'm just giving you guys a
The TLDR.
yeah TLDR. It goes, he marries Alicent. We get Aegon the second. Yes, Aegon
Hmm.
the second, and then we got the dance.
Yeah.
The show, I feel, is breezing through a lot of it. Like, let's just, I feel like the show is doing what I just did. This happens, this happens. I mean, with a couple of, like they're giving you
Yeah.
episodes, but I feel like the show is breezing through it because, damn, I'm not gonna get into episode 2. Let's get into let's start episode 1.
Start episode 1. Okay.
Yes. So, blood and cheese.
Blood and cheese, the
A
most
son, a
infamous
son,
thing of
right?
fantasy
Which
dragon.
Okay, so that's my only complaint for real about the show. And episode 1 is the blood and cheese bit, because I'm thinking it's on the level of the red wedding a little bit. It's the
It's
books are disgusting.
yes, I would say it's more fucked up than the Red Wedding.
Yes,
I mean, it's pretty fucked up in the show.
it's very.
I mean, it's
It's
one of those.
team on the show.
I mean,
It's
murdering
listen,
like a little
listen,
kid.
Roy.
No.
We
Yeah.
saw a Game of Thrones C-section last. You didn't let that one go. We saw somebody's nuts on the episode.
Well, that's
You didn't let that one go.
okay. Look, the sound effect.
Oh
fucked
yeah, it
me
was
up.
disgusting.
The sound
It
effect was
gross.
disgusting.
It was
that.
gross. It was disgusting.
Again, I think that George handed them this unadaptable thing, which is these two evil people literally murdering a small child
Yes.
and doing the fucking Sophie's Choice thing, right? And which is not in the show. I think that's the biggest
change.
The biggest change. Yeah. I mean, there's also they kill a guard. I know some people are.
Yeah, listen, I don't care about the guard. I think for medium purposes, this kind of works. Them walking through the throne room and seeing Aegon and his people, and I think, was it Eric?
No.
Eric. One of the twins was standing guard with Aegon in the throne room,
doing his job.
Right. Because, and I think the other change that I did not like was Allison's change.
What, that she's boning Kristen Cole, which is not even implied in the book. I can't remember.
It's never in the books. Kristen Cole, after everything with
I mean, he is the worst in the book. That is a true statement.
Terrible in the book. He does not
very
do this. Yeah, he's just dumb. He does not do this. So I find it very weird that he goes from, I'm gonna get my white cloak back, to I guess I can bone the Dowager Queen.
I mean, I appreciate, actually, one of the things I guess where I'll disagree with you is two of the biggest changes that I like from the book is that I think Allison's character is much better in the show. I think I said that last time we were talking about.
I think for season 1, yes.
Now that you're fully book pilled, she's just absolutely horrible, completely unsympathetic in the book, and not
what they do in the second episode kind of makes her not a bad guy, even though when you read the book,
in the book she's a lunatic at this point. I mean, which makes the thing is after Blood and Cheese, it makes sense that she's a lunatic, right? In many ways they slow play that, in the show, but even before Blood and Cheese, she's just absolutely horrid. I mean, and the show makes her much more human, and you're much more willing to root for her, right? In the show, I think the show does a better job than the book of making the Greens more understandable than just simply
I think I'll say the show wants to blur the lines for damn near everybody. I think leaving Daemon to just be Daemon, right?
I mean, Daemon is the villain.
Daemon is the villain. Aemon is a villain, but I think the show blurs the lines with every other character. Rhaenyra, she's grieving.
I mean, Rhaenyra's way more likable in the book show than the book. I mean,
way
George
more likable.
really does her dirty. in the classic Martin way.
Oh
Like,
my God, yeah, because when you read it and,
it's just like you're just like
she's
George, like George, she's like
it's
fat
like
and ugly. That's what he's like. You're just like,
I didn't want to be the one to say it, but
I'll
she's
say
like
it. Like, it's
you,
really bad. Like George.
he right, like it's like, oh yeah, you've given birth to 2 other kids. Now you're just like you let yourself go. I'm like, oh my
It's like,
God,
it's like George. Like, I mean, no, like, oh George. That's the other thing
that's
about Farmer
classic
Boy.
George though. That's
There's a lot
classic
of
George.
George. There's
Yes,
a lot of
it's a
George,
lot of George,
including the romance between Damon and Rhaenyra. But
the show
Bex,
blurs the lines with everyone. It blurs.
it does. I think
mean,
it tries to maintain the like people can be team green, people can be team black.
yes, you don't necessarily have to like, you can see some good. You can see why Team Green wants to do what they do. You can see why Black is doing what they're doing. I will tell you my surprise character that I never thought I was gonna feel anything towards. Aegon the second. It could just be the actor is phenomenal
The
in the
actor is
role.
really good. I think
He's so good.
they made again him more likable in the show than he was in the
Yes.
book.
Yes.
And which
I
is
mean,
good because this is
technically,
the
episode 1, not at all, because when they do the council thing and he brings Jay Harris.
yeah, I think but I think he's still way more
Thank you,
likable.
Boris.
Thank you, Boris. He's way more likable, I think, just overall. Like he's like the CAD thing is more like playful on the show than like
Right.
cruel. Like he's there we go, Paula. That's the content people crave.
Right. This is what everyone is here for. Come on.
What is a dragon but a
Right.
flying
We got a land seal instead.
but I think he's like the CAD thing is played much more for like laughs and lightness now. Like there's a darker side to it, but it's definitely not like he just sucks in the book, right? Like he just sucks. He's like a abusive POS husband in the book, and he's much more,
He's much more likable. Again,
which is good because this season, without spoilers, like there's a lot of Aegon stuff that's gonna like happen this season.
Yes,
and it's like good to like you may not want to root for him, but you can feel. Because my key takeaway from the first 2 episodes is the Greens are competent, right? Like it's just like the idiot brigade, like left and right. Like there's just so many unforced errors in
not unforced errors, man.
In the Green situation, and the fact that they suffered one of the biggest tragedies in the entire book series, and they still just like don't have their shit together and are blaming. It's just like the Greens. I think I was like even more so before. Like, wow, the Greens just are like really bad at this, right? No. And it's something that,
I will say though. I will say, it was funny, and I think they learned their lesson from Game of Thrones, where it's like you get Joffrey and you don't necessarily want to like you don't want to write the character like he is in the books. You kind of give him something more. I think that's what they're doing here. Like I feel like this is like a little Joffrey light, but in the books he was a piece of shit. But like with what they're doing with the character on the show, it's kind of like, okay, we don't want to create that. We can make him understandable. I mean, he loses his son, bro. Like,
yeah, and the actor really carries that.
Oh,
in the second episode.
Yes.
Same with the actress. I think the unsold. I mean, I think there's been some discourse about it. Like the actress who plays, what is her name escaping me? His wife's name.
His Helena.
Helena, yeah. Helena or Helena, yeah. Is I think the all-star.
Yes.
These 2 episodes.
Oh yeah, her quiet moments killed it.
Yeah, really sells it.
Yes.
I think the big controversial change I think people will be debating whether it was stronger or not is whether or not the Sophie's Choice thing was good to cut or not good to cut. I think that they are leaning less into her immediate collapse, like what happens in the book, and like a slow burn.
Yes, which is I feel we're gonna get a slow burn of her character, what happens to her character versus in the book, because it was very quick.
Yes, understandably.
It went from 1 to 1,000 really quick.
Yeah. And I think we're getting a slow burn of that thing with keeping the spoilers relatively low.
Right. There. And I think again, we're both of the actors who play Aegon and her, that stairwell moment where they meet each other
It was very powerful.
was,
Well done.
yeah, it was well done. A quiet moment, which a quiet moment, but it just works. It actually really works for the show, and I actually really enjoyed it. Um,
So staying on Team Green for a while, I think before we'll
oof,
jump over to the big stories of Team Black,
right,
um, is Aemond, who is, I think, another character that the show has softened, at least somewhat in the show. Like he feels bad. He did not purposely kill Luke
right,
in the
right.
show, right? If we remember the finale. And then here, there's the scene in the second episode of him feeling bad that basically his nephew died because of him, right? When he sort of like figures out that they were coming to kill him, and he goes to the brothel and is like hanging out with his lover there, which I guess is from the first season. I really did not remember that character.
I don't remember that character either. I just
So
know,
like, but I mean,
yeah,
they are humanizing him more, which is, again, he is like, I think all
he's
of
not likable. Like almost none of the you know who I feel like is true to character though is their
Damon.
granddad. No, their granddad. No, we're
Oh,
on
Otto.
Team Green. Otto.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think the reason he's true to character is just because he sees the end goal. He doesn't see anything else. And they've kept that character, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
not trying to make him likable or not. He's just, you just know who he is, right? He's especially with what he did in episode 2. He's like, okay, we're gonna grieve, but for real, we have to fake news this shit. Like,
Yeah, no, I mean, like he like, I think Otto is one of the best. I mean, he was one of the strongest performances in the first season. He's been good in these 2 seasons. But
yes,
speaking of speeding things up, it's interesting that they chose to remove him so early.
so quick,
I
yeah.
mean, I guess they're like kind of trying to, like, again, you can't really talk about it without spoilers,
Hmm.
but like they clearly, if you have read the books, are trying to get through some of the book stuff pretty quickly, because we are getting some new characters,
Hmm.
who, what's the best way to put this, like, if there's people you feel like, why are they paying attention, like, why are we spending some time with this blacksmith, who are these random dudes who are working for the
For the greens.
for the blacks, the ship dude, 2
Oh
shipbuilders.
yeah, the two
Yeah,
shipper.
it's like they are going to be
Ooh.
doing important things in the future. And
Okay.
so I don't want to. We'll come back to them when they get sort of like revealed
Right,
who they are,
yeah, when
and
they
we can
start
talk
going
about
up.
changes from the book and stuff like that. But so like, there's like, they want to move the timeline pretty quickly. I think I have a good idea. I have a feeling of a good idea of where the show will end season 2, because I'm at this point, I am convinced that they are aiming for 3 seasons with the
Yes.
way that they
They
are.
have been they've been greenlit for a third.
Correct. Like, particularly if they don't want to do the stuff that's after Dance with Dragons, they could do a season that's that stuff if they wanted to.
I,
But
I'll be honest. As someone that read it,
I like
once
that stuff. But
no, it's kind of really quiet once the dance ends.
yeah,
It's just kind of like,
it's very
I think
political
it's
though.
there to like just bring you back down because the dance is again, it's dirty business. War
It
is
is.
dirty.
And there's some really dirty stuff happening in this season. Like, this season is full of big set pieces, and they're already
Mhm.
moving to like 2 of them very quickly.
Yes.
And so I'm interested to see where they go, and exactly how they interpret these things. But I think overall, like, my big takeaway was Team Green is incompetent. The
Very.
Kristen Cole fail son storyline,
I just don't.
he's very unlikable. Like it,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that they actually lean into him being unlikable. Like because every other character got some redeeming qualities,
Hmm.
and I don't feel like Kristen Cole got any in
None.
the show reboot. Like,
Especially in
so he's hot.
in
I guess
episode
he's hot.
2 when he does what he does. Okay, that to me again, that's another. Let's jump there real quick. That was a rush storyline to me because didn't that happen in the middle of the dance?
What, removing Otto or
No, the Eric and Eric fight.
no? It happens right after. I had to look that up actually.
It
It,
happens.
it happens
We're
right
here.
after. It's like it's their response to Blood and
Oh, okay,
cheese.
okay. And then I thought they found each other, in like the hall, in like a hallway, a battling
Well,
or something,
again,
right?
it's one of those things where, like, right in the book, it's like there's like three different versions, right? There's the like kind
Oh,
of
there's
tragic version that we
mushroom
get in the
version.
show,
Yeah.
and then we get the like the two of them just like wailing on each other and screaming like "Mom never loved you," right? Like
Right.
there's like the George is like there's the noble version, then there's this like these dudes are all just like assholes and wailing on
But
each
no,
other
I
version.
like the show version though.
Oh, the show version
Because
was
the show
really
version was
powerful.
powerful. It's like these brothers who love each other. And I think when you go back to, I think what makes the scene in what makes that scene is when you go to, I think the blacksmith's wife says, when the royals start to fight, we're the ones who feel it, right?
Yeah.
And then you jump to Eric, and Eric is like, listen, we
Mhm.
really had nothing to do with any of this. We just chose sides, and now we gotta kill each other. Like, it was sad. And
It was
then
also sad because it was so pointless, right? Like
very
it
pointless.
didn't achieve any goals
Anything.
really
And
for
and then, but what it does though is continue to make Kristen Cole a dickhead. Like,
yes.
it just cements how much of a dick he is. Like, nothing. I don't care what anyone says. Kristen Cole is the worst. He's literally the worst character in the show.
And I am very excited for things that are going to happen this season.
Oh yeah.
I guess another controversial. We're still sort of in the greens. One of the things I appreciated about Otto was him kind of like
I'm sorry.
realizing he was like in a situation he created for himself at the end, where
Yes.
where he's like, oh, like I might have been so focused on just ensuring that my line continues through and the high towers are sitting on the throne, that there's a high tower on the throne, that I completely fucked up, right? Like, and that we lost the plot, and
Yes, we did.
but it did lead to the most, I think, iconic scene in the entire in like positive scene, I guess, like that isn't like something incredibly George Gross, which is when Allison says, "Father, I have sinned." And he says, "I don't want to hear it." It's just
Bro, keep that shit to yourself, man. Like, honestly,
like
just
honestly, he's just like,
no, seriously,
no,
we need to know
really
less
good.
about each other. Like,
We need to know less
like,
about
I
it.
love you, daughter, but like, just keep it to yourself,
It's
bro.
just like I could not care. Like it just
Mhm.
like, and it was such a funny emotional note in like one of like two very serious episodes. There were occasionally very funny notes that
Mhm.
sometimes are unintentionally funny, where I definitely feel like that scene was unintentionally funny, but definitely
Oh
have
yeah,
my
one
wife and
thousand
I
percent, 1000%.
rolling in the fucking like just um but I think overall Team Green, like you like both feel for them
Mm-hmm.
in these two episodes for me,
And you
but
shake your head.
yeah, you're just like, oh my god, like how something so horrible could happen to people, and at the end of it they are less sympathetic is absolutely a storytelling success, I guess, of the storyline for Green. And it did, I think to me the writing was not the sharpest in the first episode,
Mhm.
um, but it was carried by the performances.
Yes.
I think, and we'll definitely see this when we talk about Team Black as well. I think Team Green though has the advantage of all of the actors are firing on all cylinders. Like,
Everything.
yeah,
They're hitting
every major
every note.
character,
Yeah.
in a way that I sadly don't think Team Black has.
Even
Uh,
fucking Kristen Cole. Like,
yeah,
it's
Kristen
so
Cole,
crazy. Like,
he sucks, but that actor is good at playing a
it's
fuckboy.
so
Like he
good.
really is.
Like,
Like,
walking up to Eric and saying, "Hey, your brother, sold us out. Are you sure it's not your brother? Matter of fact, go kill her." Yeah, how am I gonna get to kill her? You look alike. Use that to your
it's just like the worst plan, and it's just like what?
and then he tells it to Aegon, and Aegon is like, "Well, at least Kristen is doing something." Like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, at least Kristen is doing something. Like,
Yeah, and like Otto shutting the door and being like, "What the fuck, bro?" Like it's like this is like truly the stupidest shit that you. I
yes,
like.
like
It's
Otto
just
walked out of that room like, bro, what have I done?
all of this, all of the scheming, setting that woman's house on fire, like all the dumb shit that we've done for a whole season was for this.
Was for this.
Um, is
Okay.
there anything else you want to say about Team Green?
No, I'm really good on Team Green right now. Like, actually, I'm as much as I'm Team Black, I'm really good on Team Green right now. It's so
No,
crazy.
again, I think it's the
Oh,
performances.
it's 1000% the performances. Again, Aegon, I was between because he was younger in season one, right? So here I'm like, the actor's really showing range and
Mhm.
emotion. Helena the same, or Helena.
Helen, we'll just call her Helen.
Helen is the same. Like, she's showing, and a lot of her performances are quiet. So in
Mhm.
her quiet performances, she's still like, when I think that scene, again they changed the blood and cheese scene, right? But when she carries her daughter and walks all the way across the hall,
Mhm.
and just smooth into the Dowager Queen's room, and she's not even bothered by them doing whatever they're doing.
I'm just
They
boning.
killed the boy. That itself, like, camera work on that scene was crazy.
Mhm.
Like, a lot. I feel like the writers want us to like the Greens, and they're giving them all the good stuff because we're about to get to the Blacks, and
I think, well, one, this is a bad time for the Blacks. Like
yes,
Damon does something absolutely horrible. I think season one, the Blacks are just like, except for Damon, who remains the worst, and Matt Smith is enjoying playing
oh,
him being the
he's
worst.
loving it.
I think Rhaenyra is in the first season a more sympathetic character. I mean,
Yes,
you can
young Renera, old Renera.
both of them. I'm like both
Okay,
of them are more sympathetic, right? I mean, like you can feel bad for Alicent, but her side is just like bad, and
right,
but Rhaenyra, who has her future robbed from her, and
right,
her and they murder Laris murders her boyfriend, who's her baby daddy. Like
right,
it's like I think there's like, and then some of the decisions that they made to soften Rhaenyra, like her sending her husband off on his like you know you know, I don't know, off with his gay lover instead of having his gay lover murder him, like in the book, was like all really good things to sort of like humanize Rhaenyra and like make Team Black, I think, more sympathetic in the first season. But the second
right,
season, particularly like opening with blood and cheese, like it's hard to want them to have success.
right.
Like I think it makes it like the show makes it much more like Damon's thing.
Hmm.
And like I am a big Damon hater, both in the book and on the
Right.
show. Like I
Oh,
think anyone who
Damon
watched our
gets
previous
worse, actually, though.
like the show like kind of tries to have its cake and eat it too with Damon, which George also does, but yeah, I still hate Damon. Matt Smith is still good, and there's an amazing, I mean, the scene between him and Rhaenyra in the second episode, I think,
Yes,
which is the
that's
strongest episode
yes,
of the
for
two.
Team Black, yeah. For Team Black, that is the strongest moment they've had. I will say, though, Damon is still like the funniest character. As much as, I mean,
I mean, he has
I'm watching Matt Smith and Damon, and I'm like, oh, Roy's not. I don't know if Roy's not gonna like this, or Roy's just like, like, I felt like Roy was just like, Arnold fisting.
I was definitely Arnold fisting.
Okay.
I think I actually
Especially
feel like
his opening scene where he grabs Rhaenys is like, ride with me, and Rhaenys is like, bro, like, get off me. Like, what are you doing? Like,
you're an idiot. And
right.
it's just like, which
And he
he
tries to
is.
flex, and then he makes bad decision after bad decision after bad decision in the entire in 2 episodes. And I think, but this scene right here.
No, I mean, is absolutely amazing. Like, I think that there's some great acting from the core adults on the
Mhm,
show.
mhm,
Like again, Emma Corrin playing Rhaenyra, they are amazing. I think they are like really, really strong
mhm,
in this season. I think that they've struck like a really good, like they have a good read on like what the character is, right? And like what Rhaenyra's core struggles are. So I'm like really excited to see, like, because again, there's some good Rhaenyra stuff coming up. Like I think this is actually going to end up being more Aegon's season than Rhaenyra's season of just sort of like big set pieces for their characters. But there's some good Rhaenyra stuff that will be coming
great
up.
Rhaenyra stuff. I will say though, Rhaenyra having one line in episode 1, but having all those grieving mother moments, I think were strong for the character. I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, and the actor is just they're just amazing with it, right? They lean into everything that Rhaenyra is and Rhaenyra does just for those moments, so that when they get to the I want like kill him, kill that one-eyed bastard. I want him. Like when they get to that, you feel it, right? Because even up to the point where I think it's Cyrax is her dragon. When they get down and they find
the wing
and the cloak, it's like, scene. Yo, like that. I think they build so much. They build so much for Team Black right there, momentum for Team Black right there, and then they hand it over. They hand it over to Damon. And
I will also give it credit. Emma has much better wigs this season.
Okay,
but the wig game for Matt Smith, I think they're just leaning into it. Matt Smith's wig, I think it's pretty terrible. Like
it's I will say
it's
though,
better. It's better though.
His daughter's wig is not as bad.
No, they improved the daughter's. Yeah, same with choruses.
Yeah. We haven't
his wig is also better.
A lot of chorus though, but like his wig, it's not standing out like it was.
Yeah. Like I feel like everyone's
heard every complaint.
And I think they figured out like how to make the wigs work with the black actors, like hair texture much more.
Probably got black
stylists
to say, yo, just work with these. this right here.
Well, whatever, A+ that, but still, Matt Smith's wig still looks pretty terrible. It looks better.
I think he's just leaning into it at this point. And
the murder hoodie also comes back, which was very funny. Like again, I don't know how to feel. Like there's a lot of humor around the blood and cheese stuff that is like a little odd. Like the sequence you just showed, which is darkly funny. And because Matt Smith in his murder hoodie,
right? Rhaenyra is sitting there like, "Yo, I did not sanction this hit. Like, what happened?" And then, I think Rhaenys hits it first. It's like, hold on.
That face is like, I did it. Like,
and that stupid smirk. It's the smirk. It's really the Matt Smith smirk. Like he's so devilishly annoying and good at the same time. He's good at playing this annoying bad guy that you kind of hate, but you still want this bad guy to do things to Team Green, because you feel like if anyone can push the envelope at this war part of it, it's going to be him. And I think that's why they still have him. If you read the books, if you read the books, it's the reason they know that if they need someone to do the dirty work, it's going to be him. So that's the reason he's still here.
Yes. And he's, and there's a lot of,
there's dirty work that he does.
And well, there's also, I think the preview kind of made it clear that I think we get a big Daemon episode next week.
Yes.
And so I am not a fan of, like, I truly think some of the stupidest stuff George came up with for Dance of the Dragons involves Daemon, like absolutely stupid. Like, I think that they're going to lean into.
It looks like they will, because something in the preview showed. I don't want to say.
Yeah. I don't want to say.
We'll probably talk about it. Yeah.
But like, I truly do not. I think the storyline is stupid. But I will, in like a hinty spoiler way, say Daemon is involved in, I think, the best set piece in the entire.
Yes. If it's the one that I think you're thinking about.
Yes, I think yes. It is, and so it's a good payoff for a character that I did not stand on the page and also can't stand in the show. So I am excited for that storyline to eventually happen. But I think we're going to get a good amount of Daemon. I also I guess we haven't really talked about the North stuff, which is, I think, some of the most controversial changes to the Team Black
Mm.
storyline, right? Because I think
Mm.
it's Kragan Stark, who is in the beginning of episode 1, is a
Yeah.
very beloved book
Oh yeah, he's so
character
good.
from
Yeah.
the Fire and Blood. He's a very
Mhm.
important Stark. He's probably like one of the most important Starks before Ned and them. And he gets very little, like, and there's like a lot more Jace Kragan stuff, and they're like
Yes,
besties. Like, I guess the
but
TLDR in the book is they become besties.
yes, but they're saying that that's it. They're saying
Yeah,
that's it. Like I
they're
read
saying that's
somewhere they
it.
said
I
that's
mean,
it.
there's going to be Northerners, like that's
Yeah,
because
but
they do
that's
say there's going to be
all
Northerners.
Craig and Stark that we're getting.
Yeah, which is sad because Kragan is
It's important.
is
It's
important.
important.
And particularly the North, we're gonna get a good, depending on what decisions they make. Like, I think some of the most difficult material to adapt is going to be the war stuff, because some of the
Mhm.
coolest war stuff involves the Riverlands and the North, and like some of the
Yes.
stuff I really enjoy. And there's some really fun characters and interesting characters in the Riverlands and the North that like aren't our core like Damon, Rhaenyra, Allison
Yeah.
people. And I'm going to be
I
really interested to see how much time they get.
I don't know. I don't think they do. I think this show is gonna
Like,
stick to the dance and just the core dance.
no Benji Bennecott and like,
I don't think so. I want it though, but I don't think they're gonna do it because I think now you're adding other characters onto a show, and I think it just for show for like this medium, it's probably gonna get you
right.
know super like just bigger. But it'll be fun to see what they do though.
I mean, but they are. Well, again, we can't talk. It's going to be really interesting. Like,
Yes.
who they, because they've already made some pretty clear adaptation differences that are being set in motion now. Like part of like they're doing the first episodes did do a lot of Team Black work of setting up storylines that will be important in the coming weeks. But one of them is pretty close to the book. The other one is not. And it's going to be super interesting to see. We're also missing some pieces that are going to be interesting to see what happens. Excuse me. So like they're like, because again, it looks like they're cramming, a lot into this season. And
I think it's what 8 episodes to 10.
I think season. Hold on, let me. This is where we press the Google. House of Dragon season 2 episode count gets a shorter season 2. Part of HBO Warner Discovery's cost cutting is only 8 episodes.
Wow.
And they claim that it's story driven. Sure. Okay. So
yeah, no, it's definitely cost because if we're I think we're gonna get like maybe 2 or 3 dragon scenes, and that's money because
there's a lot of dragons.
We've done 3 already because we got Damon, we got Rhaenyra and Cyrax, and we got was it Maelys?
Yeah.
And Rhaenys, right? Landing though, like, and then we got Damon like taking off, and then we got Rhaenyra.
Well, the season
3 dragons.
I think the season, depending on where they choose to cut it off, there's at least 3 to 4 major dragon sequences coming up.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
money.
So that's a lot of money,
right? And especially if the dragons are going to be doing the dance, it's
and it's some big dragon stuff. But we're getting into spoilers, which I would avoid.
Yeah. Let's not.
The big weakness of, and this was kind of present in the first season, but a little less so. But now, like, particularly since they're moving so fast through season 1, like Jace. So I think he is the weak link of, like, you're supposed to like really like him. Like, I mean, I think that, right? Like, he's one of the like good ones of the, he's not his stepfather, right?
Right.
And in the book, Rhaenyra is much more of a dick. So like, he's not his mom and he's not Daemon, right? And he's like this charismatic dude, which is why he's able to win over Kragan, right? Like, he's like this important part of Team Black.
And then doesn't he get with his cousin?
Well, yeah, because yes, of course he does, right?
Yeah.
his cousin slash stepsister,
Ugh.
which is set up in the show, right? They have that like
Yes,
kind of
they're
cute
setting
scene.
it up now.
Well, and I think the first season said that they're betrothed, right? Because that's why Luke says to the Baratheons, "No, I'm actually betrothed to my cousin," right? Because I think
Mhm.
they were both betrothed to the twins. But
Right. Oh yeah, they were betrothed in season 1. Yes.
they need to crank up Jace. Like he's kind of a non-entity in these 2 episodes.
Hmm.
And I really would like to see like he should be in many ways like the Jon Snow of
Yes, and yeah,
of
he definitely should.
right of that side, right? And they didn't super duper set that up in the first season, and then they like kind of tried to do it like a little bit with his like scene with Kragan, but like if they wanted to like sell that, they needed to like really sell it. And I think by cutting the Kragan scene down to like one scene at the beginning that was like half a recap, half like, hey, remember how cool the Starks are? Like, you remember how you love the Starks? Well,
Right,
here they are,
right. Here,
right?
yeah,
Like,
here's one.
here's one. Here's the coolest one. Um, see, anyway, almost did a spoiler.
Yeah,
And so
I feel it's kind of difficult to do though. It's kind of
yeah,
difficult
it
to
is.
do.
Now you know how I was struggling all
Yeah,
last
season
season.
1, you
Yeah.
were so now I get it because
Uh, it's hard to talk about some of this stuff. Anyway, overall I found that these 2 episodes, I thought the second episode was stronger than the first,
hmm
even though the first had like a horrifically huge moment that was, I think, well executed in the context of what it was. But I think those 2 episodes just like the pacing just seems really off on both of them. Like there's like a lack of they feel very discombobulated to me. Like there's like some things that need to happen, and it feels like they're gonna happen. But besides these big moments, like blood and cheese being the big one, and then the aftermath of blood and cheese, right? And then the fight between the brothers. Like besides these 2 big moments, it's like we know these. It's like they sat on the whiteboard and they wrote like blood and cheese, and
hmm
then they wrote
Eric and
Aaron and Eric, and then like attached a bunch of scenes to those big moments,
Eric.
and they didn't like feel like episodes to me. Like they kind of just felt like
Things that
spinning,
happen
spinning, yeah,
around the
around these
big
big
moments,
moments,
right?
and in a way that I think that the first season avoided a lot of that.
Hmm.
And like they like wove the big moments into the like specific episode narratives. So like as a fan of Fire and Blood, have found the first episode satisfying. As watching experiences, I found them kind of bad. Like not performances, but just sort of like structurally as an experience.
I think again for me, it's the change of blood and cheese. I think because you've this show and the show before it has shown that they can go there. Um, I think, but I do respect why they did what they did for the medium. I mean, I just think again, killing a kid on camera probably
Oh,
is
they were never going to do that. Like Game of Thrones never did anything that fucked up.
no,
Like
no,
the
no.
first season of
I
the
mean, she did Red Wedding. You got her pregnant belly
Oh,
got
right.
stabbed.
I forget about that. It's been so long.
Exactly. They stabbed a pregnant woman in her pregnant. They didn't slice her throat in her pregnant belly.
I forgot that
Okay.
they did that. Yeah, that was fucking nuts. You are right.
Yeah, that wasn't pro life. That was
Well, it
very
was,
not pro life.
yeah.
But yeah. So I again, I can sit with the change, knowing that okay, if I had to probably adapt this for this medium on a Sunday night in the summer where school's out, I would probably
The
not.
sound effect, though, Mo. The
Yeah,
sound
the
effect,
gurgling of the child was ugh,
and
it was
the
painful.
like
It was painful. It was
it
painful.
was actively upsetting. Like
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
I am going to give this show more credit. I'm going to give these episodes more credit than you did. Not necessarily because of the structure of the episode, because I do see what you're saying, but I'm just saying the performances
Mm-hmm.
carried. And I just again, I got surprise performances from people I would never have thought I got
Mm-hmm.
and because the performances carried, even episode 2 where nothing for me happened, you get the fake news procession, and then you get and then you get the argument, and then Eric, like those are the three main things that happen in episode 2, right? The fake news procession, the argument scene, and then Eric, and then same episode you get Aegon doing his thing with the Lego set, smashing Viserys's Lego set.
Yeah, that
You
was a
know,
well done, powerful moment.
there's there, and then towards the end of the episode where Alicent walks into Aegon's room and he just breaks the fuck down. It's like he's tried to keep it together and be king for so long throughout the entire episode and be a dick, kill all the rat catchers, and like you just got favor from all of King's Landing, and then turn around and just mess it up. Like all these things happen, like, and you're right. It's just things are happening in, like, it's like, okay, this needs to happen. Eric needs to happen. What else needs to happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. I get that, but I'm just saying the performances in a lot of those scenes that they just stuck to the wall, that they threw at the wall and stuck, work so well that it just kind of distracts you from how discombobulated the episode is. So if I had to grade both episodes, because I think it's unfair to do one and one. I mean, episode 1, again, it ends the way it ends. It's a B. Episode 2 ends the way it ends. I think they're both B's to me. Solid B
I
episode.
actually think we're actually at the end of the day on the same page.
Okay.
I'd say I give them both B's. I might be willing to give the second episode like a B plus.
Right.
I think it was just. I think it was just a stronger episode. I think the performances were stronger because there was like more meat to like what they had to do. Like this horrific thing happened in the first episode, but the sort of like ways that the cast channeled the emotions was very powerful and very interesting. And so I would definitely say that the second episode was stronger than the first episode, which I think is how we also felt about the
first season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am. What is the best way?
Because the first season's first episode was a C-section.
Oh God. Wasn't that in the beginning, very beginning of the episode too?
No, I think the very beginning of the episode was
oh my
nuts.
God. Yeah. Okay.
And then like towards the that middle portion of the beginning of the episode, they announce that she's pregnant, and then they decide to just
you're right. Oh my God, yeah.
In the middle of a tourney, right? Because there was a tourney.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Mo.
I'm sorry.
I mean, somebody mentioned the like Rhaenyra and Daemon like fucking in the club moment that in the first season the other day, I was like, oh my God.
Wasn't the madam?
The white worm who we didn't have not talked about.
We haven't talked about because she's okay. So the way they have her here, is she Team Black?
I think she is Team Black because she. I mean, I don't know what has happened in that scene between her and Rhaenyra. Like, there's
nothing happened. Honestly, they were just talking. Nothing happened.
Sure, Bo. Like they're just roommates. But like whatever happened in that scene was. But I think you're supposed to feel like she in that moment, like Rhaenyra, like follows up in a way that like Daemon just ditches her, right? Like into the jail cell. But the fact that like Rhaenyra followed up on her promise, like there's like she and like the speech about small, like wanting to be like, I think they connected as like two women who want power, but men keep stymieing them.
Yes.
And like, I think they connected at that moment. And yeah, I think she's Team Black. I think she's going to be like their Laris or whatever.
Of course she's Team Black because when she spots Eric first.
Yeah.
And I think it's very telling. I think sometimes they show their hand because if you watch the recap like I do sometimes, they're like, oh, last time every episode, oh, last time I saw you there was 2 of you. Why do you keep showing that particular scene for the recap? Just so you turn around and have her be like, hold on.
Well, I mean, they're notorious for this. Game of Thrones, remember where they spoiled that Brendan Blackfish is coming back in the previously on? Like,
yes,
this is just something Game of Thrones does. Like,
right.
Like the joke that my wife and I have is the most important part of the episode is the 10 minutes after the credits where they explain to you, like, your reading comprehension is so low. They
Right.
explain to you like what happens in the episode.
Mhm.
I find them oddly charming at this point.
They're
After
funny. They're
I think I
funny.
have Stockholm syndrome isn't actually a thing, but it's Stockholm syndrome for that specific like technique.
You watch the little
Oh,
episode like
yeah, where they're like, well, we're gonna just give you like a you didn't understand what you just watched, so I'm gonna explain. And it's not as like hilariously funny as the when D&D were doing them for Game of Thrones, where they would
Right.
like literally like say you're like, that is what you intended there? Like that is like, and when they would just periodically throw George under the bus, it's like clearly you all are gonna hate this, but you know whose idea it was?
George. Right.
Like
Right.
I would literally be like bawling my eyes out from laughing during the end of Game of Thrones, watching that. So I have to watch for House of Dragon. There were some funny moments in the House of Dragon one. This one was a bit bad, like was good because like they did some like the behind the scenes, like the guy who played Eric was, excuse me, well done and stuff. So
Right. For the longest, I thought it was one actor, but they actually went and got twins.
yeah, they are twins. Yeah.
So that
And
works.
unlike Acolyte, where it is the same way. Speaking of Acolyte, though, I didn't realize that.
Don't do Acolyte like that.
No, hold on, but I just gotta say this. Acolyte. I didn't realize the girl who plays the Jedi Padawan, that's Laura from
Yeah, that is Daphne King.
Wolverine.
Yes, that is
Like
Daphne
I didn't
King.
like I didn't like make the connection.
You didn't connect. Right.
She
Prosthetics, the makeup department for
yeah.
that show is amazing.
Well, she's also older, right? She's like
She's
8 or 9 years older.
Wolverine was what 2007.
It was pre-Trump, right? So I think it was pre-Trump.
15?
Wow. Yeah.
14,
Yeah,
15. Somewhere in there, right?
Logan or whatever. Yeah.
Logan, yeah. 14, 15. Dang, 10 years?
Yeah, something like that. Because they were talking about like that it'd been 10 years, right? Because did Logan come after all of the Bryan Singer movies, or were they before the Bryan Singer movies?
Logan, like
the Days of Future Past, Apocalypse. Was Logan the last?
Logan was the last.
Logan
was definitely the last time he was Wolverine. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So all that happened before, right?
So we get Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, and Phoenix.
But he wasn't in Phoenix.
No, he was in Apocalypse for like
and Days of Future Past,
right? Yeah.
Right. I think he was in Apocalypse.
He was in. I think they were trying to recruit. No, or was it
he gets chucked in the river at the end of Days of Future Past? That I remember because I recently rewatched Future Past.
Yes. In Apocalypse, he was it Apocalypse where the kids went to the mall?
Yes.
Oh no, sorry. They went to the I think they saw him in the lab, right?
Oh, maybe they do see him in something like that.
Yeah, he escaped. They all escaped, and he escaped as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, Hugh Jackman. So it's been like 10 years.
All the way over. Yeah, it's all the way over there, and then Daphne King is totally there at the end of it. But
so she's like in her 20s now or whatever.
Yeah, she's grown. So yeah, I mean, we will do that tomorrow. Speaking of Star Wars, we'll be back for Star Wars tomorrow.
I am excited to talk about Acolyte. Moe has not finished it yet, so I will not give any spoilers.
I am so ready to finish it. Like it's gonna be the show I play tonight. Before I go to bed. But yeah, I am ready to get into some Acolyte real quick and finish that, and then you probably get my reacts before. But no,
I'm excited.
I think the episode opens because I remember it just opens. You know what? Never mind.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. But no, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragons. As a book person, I am enjoying it. I want to see how I'm enjoying the adaptation because you definitely don't want a 1-to-1. You want to see how they, what they, in terms of the medium, you want to see how they change it. To me, it's like Sandman. When I read Sandman and I watched the Netflix show, I think that's, again, to me, that's top tier adaptation.
Yeah, it's sometimes a top tier. Yeah.
Depending
there are elements that are very good.
Yeah, depending on
also elements that are very bad.
Because you don't have licenses and just things
Yeah,
that
I
you
mean,
have to change.
you should go back and listen to our. If you want to hear Mo and I talk about this, you should go back and listen.
Yes, and
That is
listen, yeah.
coming back soon, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's exciting.
And I reread that again as
Okay.
well. So
Oh man, I have too many feelings about
I
the.
reread the Amazon the one on Amazon Audible,
Oh, the Audible, like
the, the the
the
one
like.
with super production with
Oh yeah,
James McAvoy.
that like Neil Gaiman's the narrator, and then they
Yeah,
have
and then James McAvoy's dream.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing Seasons of Mist, right? Which is
Yes.
right, which is like my second favorite, right? Or are they doing Seasons of Mist? Or are they doing like it's a book series that came out a million years ago, like the Destructions this season. Or are they doing both?
And I think it's Seasons of Myth. I think it's Seasons of Myth. Unless if they get a third season, we don't know what's happening. So we're just gonna go with
So we get to see. Hold on, I actually want to Google that real quick.
Orpheus.
Yeah, what is Sandman?
No, Orpheus wasn't cast.
About? He was cast. I thought begins production, potential storylines, blah 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 blah.
Because there was Netflix did release a character what do you call them things? A character trailer.
He said we're doing Greek tragedy.
Oh snap! Then that's Orpheus, right?
Okay, no, it's a Game of You. It's both Seasons of Mist and a Game of You.
Oh,
and a Game of You, I believe, is the one. Is it the one I'm thinking of? Where is this? Where Dream is searching for? No. Okay. Oh, no. It makes sense because it's got the characters from Doll's House in it. That's the one where they come back. The characters from Doll's House makes perfect sense for them to.
Oh, they're doing Doll's House.
No, the Doll's House what they did in season 1.
Oh, okay.
They had like.
Oh yeah, because they're bringing those characters back.
They're doing the storyline where those characters are back. So they're doing Seasons of Mist and then that storyline. That makes perfect sense. Okay. So a third season will be the Destruction season, which Seasons of Mist. I'm also like a huge fan of Wake, but anyway, that's
yeah. So yeah, let's not. Yeah, but no, House of the Dragons. We both enjoyed it, and we're looking.
And we're gonna try and do it either Sunday or Monday going forward.
Yes. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be fun, especially if next week's episode shows what I think it goes where I think they're gonna go. I think it's gonna be a very fun recap. I can't wait.
It will be an interesting experience. A Damon focused episode, those are always my favorites. So
I can't wait. I can't wait for you to pull your hair out talking about Damon.
Well, I need to practice get my blonde wig preparation.
All right, Roy, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will catch you next week. Thank you. Peace.